you stumbled into a podcast. It's Binge-Watchers podcast with yours truly, Johnny Spoiler. I'm only going to spoil the movies I love. Joined as always by the savage scream queen herself, Jordan Savage. For another week of savagery, roasting, spoilers. She had the audacity to go social media and she's like, I broke John's heart. I didn't take it that seriously the last week. She didn't like Peter Jackson's first movie. Bad taste. Whatever. Moving on. Not even gonna address it. So you're 20, you say, I got this. You're 30. You're in your 30s, you're saying, I'm trying to do this. You get to 40, you're like, oh boy, I screwed this up. And it's not a good thing having 3 decades of reflections to look back on. I actually saw this Facebook video, and it was like a childhood friend. And then I saw it was a video announcing the fact that she's like a franchisee owner of a frozen yogurt franchise. I don't think that was on her vision board as a kid. What are vision boards? No, I'm not going to stop and explain. Vision boards, Google it, look it up, read it in a book. I don't know.
But what an interesting game of what ifs to play. Like, what if you were a frozen yogurt franchisee owner?
So here's the thing. Like, in 8th grade, her and I are put on a list of like the 2 most likely to succeed out of the class, right? Mm-hmm. So one of us has a yogurt shop, and the other one is podcasting. I mean, anyway, in American schools, it's like you get labels, you get categories. It's like social class. It's the yearbook. You get whatever. By high school, I was a mingler. I digress. But yeah, class clown. Mingling was good. It's like the unlabeled label. You're like an inside outsider. But anyway, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You were saying like, yeah, you don't know how it's going to turn out, but I don't know. I think I made my point, and now I'm just lingering. Was it clear? I don't know.
No, it was. I always think of that Futurama episode with the television. It's like the what ifs television, and then you can look into essentially like a vision of your what ifs. So
if you take a left turn, take a right turn, zig and zag. Oh, but by the way, listeners can get 15% off with the code BINGE at lovetogetmedia.com. And you can be entered to win the gift card, I think. Anyway, more about that later. And now, on with the show.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
Hey, Jordan.
What's good?
Did you happen to hear what happened at the Beetlejuice show on Broadway?
I did not. There's been so much Beetlejuice news lately.
And this has so much juice. It's such a juicy little tidbit about the Broadway Beetlejuice show.
Gimme.
Okay, so a conservative congresswoman was fondling her what's the non-conservative? What do they call those? What's the other side? Okay, yeah. There's like an S word for it too, though, right? Anyway. So her liberal boyfriend, who's also like a person in the media, or maybe another congressman. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe it's 2 congress people. I think this is an amazing story. Hey, like they're talking about like how can we make peace again and have people come across the aisle to break bread? Like a conservative congresswoman fondling her liberal boyfriend in a theater at a Beetlejuice show. It's beautiful. Like my whole thing was like not to be outraged. Like the press is like, running away with the story, the scandal, or whatever. That the right could procreate with the left, and I'm just like, yeah. First of all,
She did the damn
like
thing.
It seems like a little bit of healing to me, right?
Yeah.
Where they're both playing with forbidden fruit, but no, it seems like the country's finally healing. We're coming together. We're coming together at a Beetlejuice Broadway show.
Some sexual healing at the Beetlejuice theater. Oh, wow.
Cue like a Marvin Gaye record or something and whatever.
You know, everybody has to have the start of their love story, so good for them, you know?
Yeah. Folks, should I explain the rules of how things really work to everyone? I don't know. No, we'll get canceled. I won't explain the rules. I won't explain the rules. I'll just move on. Email me if you want the rules. I'll tell you. Okay. Oh, this is another juicy one. A psychologist warns that it's a major red flag if you relax by enjoying true crime stories. Dr. Thema, that's a weird name. Sorry. I almost said Thelma, but there's no L. Dr. Thema, I don't know. Dr. Thema Bryant, sorry, and Dr. Bryant, I'm butchering your first name. Dr. Bryant said it in a conversation with Mel Robbins on the Mel Robbins show. If your idea of relaxing before you go to sleep is to watch 3 episodes of Law and Order, I would encourage you to think about why is trauma so relaxing to me? What do you think about that, Jordan?
Yeah, well, I mean, Law and Order seems pretty PG in comparison to some of the true crime stuff out there, but I get what she's saying.
Yeah, like Get Murdered on the Hike season 2.
Yes, literally.
Yeah. Jordan watches a lot of trauma-induced television, but I know a lot of people, and I think actually, a lot of women watch a lot of trauma-induced television, but it's like, are they walking around with trauma? Do they think trauma is just around the other corner?
Probably
like,
both.
Is it easier to process the trauma?
I think of it like proactive measures. You know, what would you do if you were in a situation?
Pre-trauma conditions?
Yeah. So
do you buy this, or do you think it's bogus? Do you think it's only because of past trauma or your own trauma that you're watching trauma TV?
I'm sure there's like some sort of like truth to that, but I'm also on the same page where I don't like to watch it before bed because this is where the trauma comes in too. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely messed up because my dreams will just be like absolutely ridiculous. So I don't like to do that and then try to go to sleep because then I'll be like, oh, that was an insanely graphic dream that I had all night. So, but
why does this girl look like me and she's hiking on the same trails? This is my life.
Yeah, I can't not watch it.
Like that Black Mirror episode where it was like that marketing executive's life turns into the Netflix movie or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, and then if you're a Buffy fan, this is some good news out of the Buffyverse. They're going to do like some kind of audio narrative fictional podcast ? But it's themed around Spike and all the characters from the Buffy Scooby Gang or whatever. That's what they nicknamed the Buffy troop or whatever. They referenced that they were like the Scooby Gang from Scooby-Doo. Buffy fans will know what the hell I'm talking about. Everybody else is like, what?
And also, Sarah Michelle Gellar goes on to do Daphne later on in the Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh, yeah. It's another tie-in, right? Yeah.
Tie-in, baby.
She's not in it, which is a bummer.
Makes sense.
Because it's like, but you know, she's like over it. She's like outgrown Buffy. Plus, if Buffy's everywhere, like at the conventions or every time somebody sees you, like, coffee for Buffy, you know what I mean? She goes in, the barista wants to give her coffee as Buffy. Like, I'm sure, like, wherever she goes, she's Buffy, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's like the part you can't get away from, like Batman or something. However, it's probably going to be nice when you're in your 60s and you're like, yeah, I killed vampires on TV.
Still getting that Buffy check, you know?
You know what, though? You might think you killed vampires in real life if your memory's going and you got a little thing and you remember it differently. Like, no, it wasn't a TV show. It was real. It was real life. I killed vampires in real life. Ask my granddaughter. I tell her the stories every day. Something like that. I digress. All right. Speaking of memories, tonight's movie is called Memories. There's 3 anime short stories compiled by the director of Akira. Everybody says Akira. That was like the first imported anime to America. It's what started the anime craze in the 80s and 90s with swapping videotapes and ordering the videotapes off the TV. You would call the 800 number. They would send you Akira. but I guess it's really Akara because that's what they're screaming in the movie. Okay, one of the characters is always like Akara. Anyway, again, a lot of inside baseball on tonight's show, folks. You're like, what's Buffy? What's Akara? Oh man, I didn't even give the name out of the yogurt shop earlier, and I won't. I've already forgotten what. No, I know what it is. Let's see. Maybe I'll go get some frozen yogurt later.
Sounds so good.
That's a hell of a trip, though. It's down where you are. After the show, I'm gonna give the GPS to Jordan. She can go tell me if the yogurt's any good.
Okay.
All
okay,
right.
I'm done.
Let's see. Where am I? Oh, so basically, he doesn't direct all 3 stories. There's like 3 stories that compile a feature-length movie. He has like other directors work on the other stories with him. However, I think he may have written all of them. I'm not sure. I might be getting the facts screwed up. But so the first story is Magnetic Rose, which is a ship is going to like a rescue call or whatever. And then the space station ends up being haunted. And it just like unravels from there. Then the next story is called Stink Bomb, where a scientist accidentally exposes himself to like a chemical weapon or biological chemical weapon or something. And then he's going around the countryside trying to evade it at first because he doesn't realize that he's the cause of it. And then it's like wrecking the whole country. And then the last one is Cannon Fodder, which is like there's 2 cities that are like in a modern civil war. And they literally just like your job in school is kind of all just like you get up. It follows this little kid. His job is to load the cannons. And it's kind of like 1900s technology, like it's industrial technology, but it's not modern, right? It's like that very like sprockets and gears and big cannons or whatever, you know. So those are the 3 stories, and I think that Jordan has some savage stats. Like, hit the radio button, and she's like, savage stats.
Honestly, make that a sound bit permanently on the show. Okay. In 2001, Animage magazine ranked Memories 68th in their list of the greatest 100 anime productions. So that's pretty cool. The film was met with positive reviews, although reception for each of the 3 stories varied. Magnetic Rose has generally been deemed the best episode. In Magnetic Rose, the opera singer's lover is named Carlo Rambaldi. This is most likely a tribute to film special effects creator Carlo Rambaldi, who has contributed effects to the movie Alien and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, among many others. Sound effects from Ridley Scott's Alien are also included. And the vignette cannon fodder is made to look like the famous French paintings, which I thought was a very interesting style of animation. But that is it for Savage Stats tonight.
Oh, dang. And we'll be back after these messages. Love to Get Media is a small family-run shop of music and movie lovers that have put together subscription boxes of videos, vinyls, and video games. You got movie box options, which is tens of thousands of movies. You pick your box size, and you can pick from a list of 20-plus genres. You also got the vinyl box options. You can pick your decade's preference, let them know the style of music you like. Then there's the video game boxes. You can pick your console and your favorite type of games. You can pick from over 30 genres of video games. And you got your digital codes as well. You can pick a movie from their digital code library and start watching in seconds. Our listeners will get 15% off with promo code BINGE. You can also have a chance to win a gift card for signing up. You can visit them at loveagainmedia.com/binge. Support movie-loving companies while they support podcasts like us. Now back to the podcast, already in progress. It's favorite bits from Memories with Jordan Savage.
Okay.
Previously of Savage Stats.
So a couple parts that stood out. I would say I also agree that Magnetic Rose is the best out of the 3, or my personal favorite. But I thought that all 3 of these would make like really pretty cool and fascinating live action films. But What I liked out of the second one, and remind me what that one was called again.
Stink Bomb.
Stink Bomb.
I
Yeah.
forget that one. It's a walking park.
I know. Well, and it's kind of funny too, because like obviously the stink is like knocking everybody out, but it's also at the same time creating like really beautiful blossoming of flowers everywhere, like inside the valley. So I thought
secondary
that was,
life when humans are gone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I thought what my favorite bit was actually, you know, he still hasn't realized quite yet that like he is the reason of the stink bomb. Like he's the smell that's traveling across the country. Yeah. And, you know, his grandma's like trying to warn him to not go into Tokyo to essentially bring the stink bomb with him. And so he's just like traveling along the highway on his like little motorcycle, whatever. And of course, military starts taking action and shooting bombs at him. And he like makes it through this tunnel essentially, and he comes out and the light is blinding him. And then of course you see like hundreds of military helicopters and jets and stuff coming at him to essentially eliminate him, assuming that that would, you know, kill the stink bomb. But I just thought it was a really cool like scene where he's like driving the motorcycle towards you, and then all of the bombs are essentially like eliminating and obliterating the highway. And it's just like
pushing,
such a,
like they're pushing 2D hand drawn with computer, like they're doing. Yeah, that's where the animation stands out for sure.
Yeah, I really liked that bit. But again, yeah, I would say that the first one, Magnetic Rose, was just really incredible and super creepy and cool, because you're not really sure like if there's someone there, and then holograms are kind of coming into place. And
wasn't that crazy? Like it's a cartoon, but it's actually scary.
Oh, very. Yeah, very scary. Yeah. I mean, and it's really sad when you find out like the main, I wouldn't say the main character, because there's essentially two like astronauts that are going into this like asteroid that's...
You're talking about Heinz.
Heinz, yeah. Heinz is my favorite, but you find out his backstory, which is incredibly sad, that, you know, his daughter had essentially died by falling off a
roof. In a horrible accident, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the hauntings are like reimagining
triggering memories.
Play over again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So she was very spooky. So what were your favorite bits?
Yeah, yours kind of lead into mine too. Like I'll mention Heinz again. I made sure to write his name down. So they're kind of like archetypes. Like there's like 4 astronauts. Like the guy flying the spaceship is kind of like a old mechanic bruiser type dude, you know? Couldn't really hang, have a beer. Then like there's like a nerdy computer guy like running the navigation, and then they send the 2 guys, the working class mules or whatever, you know, they send them to go check out what's actually going on in the space station or whatever. And it's creepy right away. You know, things are just playing randomly, and these old robots are coming to life, and like they're walking through an opera house kind of looking area. Mm-hmm. And these illusions that are like, I don't know if they're holograms or what, because there's definitely like a level of like hallucinating. And then you see like, at one point, like Heinz is trying to save the other character that's with him, Miguel, and Miguel's tripping bad. You know what I mean? Like he's seeing like dancing figures, and he's like attending like a ball in the 1700s with like who you're going to find out is like the reason for the haunting. She's there. Spoiler alert. It's like an android, because it's like the computer mind or whatever has taken over everything and is reliving an opera singer's life or something like that. And then like, it's like ooze or oil or ectoplasm. It's a very wet, liquidy death or whatever. Like they're fighting, and the computer keeps rebuilding parts of the space station as they go along, and then just throwing machinery at them. But that's my favorite part. Like when Heinz is trying to save him, when Miguel's like really tripping bad, and he's just walking through all the goo, and then Heinz is trying to get down to him because he sees all this crashing, like mechanical stuff is about to kill him. And then Stink Bomb, the ending is freaking incredible. Like again, the guy. Here's the other spoiler. You're getting spoiled hard tonight, folks. If you missed this cartoon from 1995, oh well. Here it is. They have these like mechanized mechs, like mechs from like Gundam Wing, or like, you know, big robotic warrior suits that the military has. They come in because they're the only suits qualified not to be exposed to the stink. And then only one of the suits returns from the special mission to get rid of the stink and comes into the war room with like the president of the country. And also they had mentioned that the spiritual leader of the country, the emperor, was also nearby in the holding area or something. So all the leaders of Japan are in this bunker, and one soldier comes back in the mechanized suit, and then it's our buffoon hero who still doesn't understand the consequences of the stink or that he's the carrier. Hey guys, I made it. I finally got through the, you know what I mean? Like, I made it to safety. And then they zoom in, or they have this close up animation of the eject button from the suit. And then of course the stink goes everywhere into the war room and kills all the government officials.
Also, interesting concept that like the medication or the pill that like actually creates the like biochemical warfare is also sort of like an antidote, because he himself doesn't get affected. It's everybody else, you know,
completely immune. It like changed his body chemistry or something. I don't know. Yeah, changes his pheromones or something. They did something on a. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say molecular level. I'm not a scientist. I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It altered his body chemistry or biology or something. And obviously it's a fantastical idea, folks. But I mean, that one's not that far fetched. I mean, they got like that video game adaptation to HBO, The Last of Us, right? With the mushroom outbreak that turns into people into like, you know, fungus zombies and then keeps going. And there's only
I swear we just watched something too recently where it's like the plant like dies and creates like all of these flowers on the
that was the big beanstalk type thing or whatever. That was one of the gods in Hellboy 2. Yeah, where it fell, it had all this fungi growing or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just trying to wrap my brain.
So we've told you our favorite bits. Now we have a patented rating system here on the Binge-Watchers podcast. It's binge now, binge later, or binge never, which means watch it now, put it on your list, get around to it, or stay away from it. You wasted an hour of your life. You can't get it back. 2 hours, whatever it is. Jordan, what do you rate this movie?
It was a binge now for me. I just like all the animes that we've watched on this show. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess I could have said, let's get a little more molecular and be like, rate each individual story. But I'm not.
We can. Why not?
Okay, go ahead.
Binge now for Magnetic Rose, binge now for Stink Bomb, and then I would say the third one, Cannon Fodder, was a binge later for me, but still really interesting. So, yeah.
It's a binge now for me. I think you got to watch it at least once. On repeat viewing, I don't bother to watch Cannon Fodder. I've only watched Cannon Fodder once. I watch Magnetic Rose every time I do the viewing, so that's a binge now. I don't watch Stink Bomb every time, so that's a binge later. And the other one, I don't need the other one. It's like, it'd be interesting to see if they edited the movie differently. Like if they put Cannon Fodder in the middle and they had a strong ending with Stink Bomb or Magnetic Rose. With the way the tempo of the stories, Magnetic Rose should probably be last, and Cannon Fodder or Stink Bomb should be first. Like I think if they change the order of the stories, it might have a different impact. Like it would actually feel like a movie that builds up to like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, right?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you because it's already still like almost 2 hours long, and so you get through like the first two, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you like watch the last one, and you're like,
ooh, fan service. Let's see what's going on. Oh, one of the fans had watched the Lady Terminator episode on our YouTube channel, and it said something to the tune of like, basically Lady Terminator beats out a lot of the Terminator movies, which I thought was kind of like, do they call that a hot take? I think that's what they call that, right? Because like Lady Terminator has nothing to actually do with cyborgs or anything to do with the Terminator, like cyborg itself. It has nothing to do with Terminator. It's just called that because at the time action movies were at the top of their game, and Terminator was like at its peak of popularity, and they sold the movie on the posters like that, like it was like a female Terminator. However, no, she's a mystical Indonesian goddess that possesses a woman, and her powers are, well, to be fair, it does look like she's shooting laser beams out of her face at one point, but there's no technological reason for it. You know, it has nothing to do with technology or robots going back and forth to the past or whatever. I kind of disagree. I mean, I love Lady Terminator. I wrote a blog about it. We did a whole episode about it. we made sure that Jordan watched it, even though she wasn't there for the airing, but we were like, made her go back and watch it, get her comments for it. So, obviously, we sing its praises. And I think it was a binge now. It's just a weird movie. It's a B movie, but it's like definitely popcorn worthy. You sit down, eat some popcorn, maybe have a beer, whiskey, something, watch it with your friends. It's very entertaining. But if you stack it against the actual Terminator movies with real budgets and the Terminator himself, Arnold, it doesn't compare. It doesn't hold up. You can't do that. Like, so in my mind, it's a broken it's like a broken comparison. Like, I don't think you can take 7 Terminator movies and put Lady Terminator against it or vice versa. It doesn't work. I have heard some friends say they argue that later sequels, it could hold up to the later sequels, but this is like a no-win situation. I'm comparing 2 movies I like, having to choose one over the other. Not fair. Right. Well, I mean, at least they're commenting on YouTube, but it's going to go in circles. I'll spend another hour debating the merits of Terminator. Like, forget it. If we watch something else, staff picks. Can we recommend something to the audience if they're not interested in the anime movie or Stink Bomb? What can you recommend?
And I didn't really watch anything like of substance. I've dabbled in a couple of things, and I think I probably haven't finished anything. So, yeah, not a lot to recommend, unfortunately. So I did watch The Pope's Exorcist and did call him Priest Daddy, though.
Oh, Priest Daddy. Wow.
Yeah, because Russell Crowe is looking super good in his old age. But
Russell Crowe, Priest Daddy.
Yeah.
Well, they intentionally made him like funny, casual, sexy in that movie.
And I was here for it. So
you're like, yeah. So there's some crappy special effects at one point in that movie, but the movie's mostly solid and the mythology is good. And once they get to the underground tomb, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, once you unravel the demon's plan in that movie, you're definitely like hooked. Like, you're involved at that point.
Yeah. The little boy, terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, the little boy, I think I was more scared about the tomb and like the history of what was happening than anything particular as far as like exorcisms I like. Yeah, for me it was like the crypt once they got into the crypt, and then I was like, where are they taking it once? Oh no, I guess I shouldn't spoil shit. I backed myself into a corner. Like, listen, at one point you think Russell Crowe's gonna get the big one, and you're kind of concerned for Russell Crowe. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
I won't say where the finale goes. But it's got a crypt. Jordan called him Priest Daddy. We've both seen it.
Yep.
It's of the demon movies that have come out lately, it's been the only thing worth turning on for 90 or so minutes. So yeah.
I'd say so.
It wavers somewhere. It wavers somewhere between a binge now and a binge later, though. It's like, yeah.
I agree. I love it.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything?
Well, I've queued up The Golden Bachelor, but I haven't had a chance to crack it open.
Can't wait.
I'm on like a binge of like television show episodes, just crunching episodes of TV to distract myself just from everything. Wow, summer's gone, dude, by the way. Like, I am currently wearing one of the Hawaiian shirts with flowers on it. If you're not watching, folks, I'm just describing it for you. It's about like I have to now go sign up all the fall shirts.
Yeah, it's very like, Cabana Boy on half the print. So I love it.
Cabana Boy.
Yeah.
And then Jordan's rocking the darkest T-shirt I think I've ever seen her wear. So she's like in the shadows wearing a T-shirt that's in the shadows. Is that?
It's an alien.
Oh, it's an alien.
Yeah.
At first glance, I thought it was there was a weird cartoon where the girl had button eyes. What's the name of that cartoon? Anyway,
Coraline.
I'll be here all night if I try to remember that card. What is it?
Coraline.
Yeah, Coraline. That's who I thought was on your shirt.
Yeah. No, this guy's just smoking a doobie, so.
Oh, yeah. She's grunged out 90s, folks. I want to know what style that is. She called me Cabana Boy. I'll be like grungy guitar chick.
I'm here for that too. Let's go.
Man. Okay, let's see what's going on. Where are we? Oh boy. The weird month could include all kinds of things like anime movies, aliens trying to eat people with vomit soup. But next week we're gonna chew on a movie called Dogs Don't Wear Pants. And if you have a good imagination, you might be thinking about like, oh, the dogs in this movie are trying to wear pants. Cool, I'm in. Or it could be a werewolf movie. Nope. It's about taking sexual proclivities. Proclivities? Is that a word? I think that's a word. It's like, does the fetish go too far or not far enough? Answer that question next week. I just get a text from Jordan. I'm out.
Like, this will be my final movie. Just kidding.
Oh,
Never.
Oh, that's my cue to play a song, huh? You couldn't see her, but she was dancing. That song means it's closing time.
I dance every intro song, every outro song.
Heck yeah.
It's a bop.
It's a vibe, is that what you say?
It's a bop. Yeah, it's a vibe.
Wow.